Did you know that some estimates suggest European powers extracted resources and slave labor from Africa worth $2.5 trillion in today's money? This is just a fraction of the story. Today, we're embarking on a journey through the vast and often untold history of Africa, a continent whose story stretches back millennia. Our timeline begins not with colonization, but with the very origins of civilization itself. Around 5000 BCE, organized farming took root in the fertile Nile Valley, laying the foundation for the rise of ancient Egypt. Imagine the banks of the Nile, transforming from wildlands into cultivated fields, a cradle of innovation and societal structure. But even as Egypt flourished, another force was at play. The Sahara Desert began its relentless expansion. Starting around 3500 BCE, climate change dramatically reshaped North Africa, forcing populations southward and setting in motion migrations that would define the continent's future. One of the most significant of these migrations was the Bantu expansion. Beginning around 2000 BCE in southern West Africa, near modern-day Cameroon and Nigeria, Bantu-speaking peoples embarked on a centuries-long journey, spreading their languages, ironworking skills, and agricultural knowledge across a vast swathe of the continent. This migration, lasting until around 1500 CE, impacted over 500 ethnic groups and continues to shape the linguistic and cultural landscape of sub-Saharan Africa today. Meanwhile, south of Egypt, another powerful kingdom was emerging. Around 1700 BCE, the Kingdom of Kush arose in what is now Sudan, a rival to Egypt that would even briefly conquer its northern neighbor in the 8th century BCE. Visualize the Kushite armies marching north, challenging the might of the pharaohs and leaving their mark on the ancient world. For a time, Egypt itself entered a golden age. The Middle Kingdom, established around 2055 BCE, saw the Theban 11th dynasty conquer its rivals and expand its influence into Nubia, clashing with the Kingdom of Kerma. Later, the New Kingdom, starting around 1550 BCE, drove out the Hyksos invaders and conquered territories in the Levant, incorporating Nubia and reaching its peak under the reign of Ramses II. But not all of Africa's ancient powers were located along the Nile. Around 814 BCE, Phoenician traders from Tyre founded the city of Carthage in modern-day Tunisia. This North African colony would become a major trade hub, eventually challenging the power of Rome itself. The clash between Rome and Carthage culminated in the Punic Wars, ending with the destruction of Carthage in 146 BCE and the establishment of the Roman province of Africa. As the Roman Empire rose and fell, new powers emerged in West Africa. Around 500 CE, the Ghana Empire began its rise to dominance, controlling the lucrative trans-Saharan gold salt trade. Imagine the bustling markets of Kumbi-Sala, the empire's capital, overflowing with gold, salt, and other valuable goods. The Ghana Empire's wealth was legendary. King Tunka in the 1060s, reportedly hosted 20,000 visitors at his court. However, the empire eventually fell to Almoravid invasions between 1076 and 1240. Around 750 CE, another significant development was taking place on the Swahili coast of East Africa. Arab traders began settling in the region, leading to the rise of city-states like Kilwa. Islam took root, not through conquest, but through trade and cultural exchange. By 1000 CE, Kilwa Kisawani was exporting a ton of gold annually to India, a testament to the region's economic power. Further inland, around 960 CE, the Kingdom of Aksum, in modern-day Ethiopia and Eritrea, collapsed due to invasions by the Islamized Beja people, forcing the Aksumites to migrate south into the Ethiopian highlands. The stage was now set for a new era in African history. In 1798, Napoleon Bonaparte invaded Egypt, sparking a rivalry between France and Britain and signaling the beginning of increased European involvement in the continent. The 19th century saw a dramatic shift as European powers began to carve up Africa amongst themselves. The Second Anglo-Boer War, fought between 1899 and 1902, pitted Britain against the Boer republics of Transvaal and Orange Free State. The war resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands of people, including many black Africans, and ultimately led to the annexation of the Boer territories by Britain. The scramble for Africa reached its peak in the late 19th century. The Berlin Conference of 1884–85 formalized the division of the continent among 7 European powers. By 1914, 90% of Africa was under European control. This colonization had a devastating impact on the continent, leading to the exploitation of resources, the suppression of local cultures, and the imposition of artificial borders that continue to fuel conflict today. Over 2 million African soldiers were conscripted by European powers during World War I. These veterans returned home with new ideas and a burning desire for independence. In South Africa, the seeds of apartheid were sown in 1948 when the National Party won the election and began implementing its policy of racial segregation. The mid-20th century witnessed a wave of independence movements across Africa. In 1951, Libya became the first colonized African state to gain its freedom. 1960 was dubbed the Year of Africa as 17 nations achieved independence. On May 25, 1963, the Organization of African Unity was founded in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, uniting 32 nations in a common cause. Leaders like Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, Julius Nyerere of Tanganyika, Sékou Touré of Guinea, and Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia spearheaded this movement. Namibia finally gained its independence from South Africa in 1990, leaving South Africa as the last remaining colonized state on the continent. Apartheid officially ended in South Africa in 1994 with the release of Nelson Mandela and the country's first multiracial elections. In 2002, the OAU transformed into the African Union, with 54 members by 2011. South Sudan became the AU's 54th member in 2011 after a referendum in which 98% of voters supported independence. Today, Africa continues to grapple with the legacies of colonialism, internal conflicts, and economic challenges. The AU's Agenda 2063 aims to create a united and prosperous continent. However, issues such as land ownership, economic inequality, and ongoing desertification continue to pose significant obstacles. Despite these challenges, Africa's rich history and vibrant cultures offer a source of strength and resilience. From the ancient kingdoms of Kush and Ghana to the modern-day struggles for independence and development, the story of Africa is a testament to the enduring spirit of its people. The continent stands at a crossroads, poised to shape its own destiny in the 21st century. Let us not forget the lessons of the past as we look towards the future of this dynamic and diverse continent. Remember the complexities of African history, the pre-colonial gender leadership, the Bantu migration's tech transfer, the wealth of the Ghana Empire. Reflect on the sacrifices of African troops in World War I and the coordinated efforts of Nkrumah against Egypt. Consider the voluntary adoption of Islam in Swahili and the legacy of Zimbabwe's land reform. The journey through African history is far from over. New discoveries and interpretations continue to reshape our understanding of the continent's past. By learning from history, we can build a more just and equitable future for all. Scene 1: Sun setting over the Sahara Desert, endless sand dunes.